Mr. Lee, would you give us your full name and DOC number, please?
Harrison L. Lee, 208691.
Mr. Lee, let me explain our process to you. This is a revocation hearing.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to cover some information with you. I'm going to go over your parole revocation questionnaire. Then I'm going to read the allegations where it's alleged you violated your parole. I'll ask you to plead either guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. Then we'll have an interview with you and discuss the facts of the case. You do have a supporter here with you on Zoom, I believe, Miss Linda Smith, who is your fiance. And
Yes,
after
sir.
that, we will, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the board, and then we'll vote. You understand our process?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the parole revocation questionnaire in front of you? Do you see it on the screen there?
Yes, sir.
You read it okay?
Yes, sir. It's kind of small, but I can see some of it. Yes.
That's your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
You remember filling out that application?
Yes, sir.
When you fill that out in September 15th of 2023, were those answers all accurate and correct?
Yes, sir.
Are they still accurate and correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to proceed with your hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to read the allegations against you. Number 4, you have engaged in criminal activity as evident by your arrest on or about September the 9th of 2023 by the Gina Police Department for the offense of simple battery. How do you plead to that charge, sir?
Yes, sir. It happened, but I would like to plead that it happened with a statement. I mean, it wasn't.
Okay, guilty with a statement. We'll get that in just a minute, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The next allegation is you've also failed to refrain from illegal use of drugs as evident by a drug test administered at the LaSalle Parish Jail, which was positive for THC, amphetamines, and methamphetamines. How do you plead to that?
Yes, sir. I don't know what, I failed the drug test. Yes, sir. I
Okay,
failed.
guilty with a statement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and finally, number 10, you have failed to pay your supervision fees consistently each month. And as of September the 13th of 2023, you have an arrearage in the amount of $642. You've also failed to pay the $65 processing fee. How do you plead to that?
Yes, sir, with the statement.
All right, guilty with the statement, okay? Your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. Would you ask her, answer any questions she might have?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How you?
I'm good.
Good. Give us your statements at this time.
On which question?
Oh,
Would you like for me to just give you a statement overall everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first we'll start with the payment. All right, when I was totally unaware if I was incarcerated that I had to pay still, back pay. I wasn't aware of that until my parole officer told me when I was arrested this time here that I was reliable for the payments, even if I was locked up, which I didn't quite understand that, but that's what he had told me. Okay. And then about the fight, when I entered my home, the guy that was at my house was standing there at the door. And when I come in, he said something to me and I turned around rather quickly toward him, and kind of, I guess he was under the impression that I wanted to hit him, and he hit me in my mouth and busted my lip real bad. And so once he did that, it was just a natural reaction. I responded, and me not knowing that we weren't allowed to fight. I mean, I know a lot of the other things that I wasn't allowed to do, but I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to defend myself in that form of fashion. And the drug screen, yes, sir, I'm guilty for smoking the marijuana and stuff like that.
so how did the police get involved in that fight? Who called the police?
Well, after it had occurred, me and him had, he had agreed. I apologized to him. We hugged and embraced each other. And so I left and went on back out, I left him at the house. My fiance got us a bottle of water and I left, went on back out to my niece's house to do some painting. And so about 30 minutes later, here come the Saw Parish Police Department. Because even though, the city officer had told me, say, if I would have came, I wouldn't have never even,
My question to you though was, how did the police get involved? Do you know?
okay, well, he had asked my fiance afterwards to call the police, and that's how they got involved.
And what was the cause of the fight?
He just thought I was just gonna hit him, he mumbled something.
He wasn't in a relationship with your fiance. There was no jealous thing going on.
Well, it may have been a little jealousy on his behalf because he was a distant relative of mine, you know what I'm saying, like further down the line. And so he would like come by sometimes, you know what I'm saying, and maybe help do something around the house or whatever. And so like I just came to the house that particular time, to pick up some more tools because I was out to my niece's house working that morning. And that's when he mumbled and said something, and I turned around and say, "What you say?" Just like that. And then I'm assuming he thought I was going to strike him, but I didn't. And he bust me in my mouth. And, like bust my lip.
I got you. You can stop talking now. I got you.
Yes,
now
ma'am.
talk about your drug use. I'm looking through the record. You've had, how many positive drug screens have you had since you've been on supervision?
One.
What about the 9/11 or 23? You was positive. 5/2 and 23, you were positive.
5/2 or 23.
That's
No,
enough.
ma'am. No, ma'am. That's not. I was never screened. They pulled me over. It almost seemed they pulled me over, and a lady who was in the vehicle with me had drugs, but they never drug screened me. Never.
Let me look back now. I want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am. Never. No,
You
ma'am.
made an office visit on May 2nd of 23 with Jeremy Underwood.
Uh-huh.
And he put out a violation for positive drug screening. It was your first one. And he
Okay.
gave you a verbal reprimand.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now that he asked me about the marijuana, he asked me, say,
And that's what I meant.
yes, ma'am.
In my book,
Yes,
they were saying if you verbally said you used or you were drug tested and you used. And
No,
I
ma'am.
guess how you confused that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He asked me that time that I used, and I said, well, I thought at the time, I'm thinking that, due to the fact that the state had made it, acceptable for, marijuana use.
Do you have a prescription?
No, ma'am, I don't. And then, so I told him, well, and then he said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna let you go, with that. You know what I'm saying? Since you was honest, since you,
But you used again.
yes, ma'am.
And you were drug tested that time, and it shows you was positive for meth and amphetamines and marijuana. It was more than marijuana.
Which one was that? The last time?
Yeah, the last time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that was twice.
But you said you were just doing marijuana, but the test came up with other things, amphetamines and meth.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I had access to it. But I wasn't like doing it or nothing like that. I had, experienced it a little bit, but.
You used, sir. You used while
Yes,
you
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm not saying I didn't use. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So why should I not revoke you today?
Why shouldn't you? Because I've learned from that mistake that I made. Truly, I hadn't been in doing anything bad or nothing like that. I've been to jail a few other times, but it was like it was something that I was just helping someone, giving them a ride one time, and then it seemed like I was more or less like targeted because the charges that they did charge them, they dismissed all the charges.
Yeah, you got possession of drug paraphernalia. You did.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I didn't even have it. The only reason why I pled guilty to it because I wanted to just get out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like to me now, I don't know. I wasn't there, I wasn't in the car, but it sounded like you was hanging around your drug deal.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. By no means, I was giving a lady a ride home. A lady asked me for a ride home. And she was a good friend of mine that was married to her, and and they didn't have transportation, so I was just giving them a ride.
You didn't know they possessed all those substances.
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes or no? They're good friends of yours, but you didn't know they possess all those drugs. The lights done went out in place. Power done went out.
We're back on. We had some technical difficulties. Mr.
Yes.
Harris, Mr. Ali, we're back on.
Yes, sir. We had a power failure here.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're back on. We're glad to have you back, Ms.
Yes,
Wise.
sir.
And I have finished. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you for answering my questions, Mr. Lee.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we're here for Ms. Linda Smith. Ms. Smith?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Smith. How are you? If you'll
I'm doing
introduce
fine.
yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know about Mr. Lee.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I think that he's learned his lesson about things that he's done, and he deserves, I feel like he deserves another chance, because the incident that happened, it really wasn't his fault. He wasn't at fault. The other guy, he hit him first, and he just, was defending himself. And he apologized to the guy, and he was ready, because Harrison is not a guy that, does any kind of fight. This is his first time ever having a charge like this, because he's just a calm person, and he just walk away if something occurs that way. But that simple battery charge, he's not that tight, because we have been verbally into it before, and he's never really, physically did anything to me. And I mean, he might have a drug problem at one time, but it's better than it was. And because I'm not gonna tell a lie about that, but I would like for him to change his friends and change some of the things that, the people that he's around, because it causes him trouble. So I feel like, he have a short while left to do on probation, but I talked to Mr. Jeremy, his probation officer, and they see that, they've giving him a chance, and they also looks to me to help them with him. And I think that if he, I care about him, I love him, and I just want him to see him come home again. And but if you feel like that he's gonna be a threat or whatever, he's not. I need him to come home because he's a carpenter, and I need him to fix my house. But I love him anyway. So if there's any questions that you want to ask me specifically about him.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Why did you write in your statement that he hit him?
He did hit him, but the guy had hit him first.
That's not.
He admitted to hitting him first, because I didn't see him. I didn't see the beginning, because I was in the bedroom, and all of a sudden I heard some furniture moving, and they were just, at that point in time, they were both struggling with each other. So Harrison he stopped, he held him, and I told him to just let him go or whatever. And when they he let him go after they calmed down, and he apologized to him. Harrison apologized to him, gave him a hug, but the other guy, he felt like, after Harrison left, gave him a bottle of water and gave Harrison a bottle of water. So Harrison left, but after that, he asked, he wanted to call the authorities, and so they came, and and after the fact, but he's wanting to drop the charges. He came to court when he came for his arraignment, and he was there to drop the charges, but it's a process that he would have to go through. So, and he's already talked to the DA, but he's sympathetic about it, and like I say, he wanted to drop the charges, and he's it was just an incident that just, I don't know, just maybe it was something that was brewing beforehand or whatever, and it just took place at that particular time. But Harrison, he's not an abusive person, and I don't know that.
Concerned about the fight, because in your statement you say he hit him,
He-
and I apologize to nobody to hit me first.
Well, he did. He apologized to him after the fact. And he hit him he hit him and his lip was busted. Even the police officer, when he come back, he said, well, look like you got the better end of the deal because you really busted his lip and it's, real good, just like that when he come back to pick up our statements. So, but I wasn't aware that he had hit first until he did say he did hit
Thank you.
first. And you're welcome.
Mr. Lee, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, sir. And the only reason why I did apologize to the guy, because I mean, it was like, I don't know why he like struck me like that and he hit me in my mouth. But then when I did retaliate, I got the better of the fight. I mean, even though he bust my lip real bad, he knocked my tooth loose and stuff like that, I mean, it took the lip about 2 weeks to heal up, and I can still feel it now. But all in all, I apologize to him because, I wasn't gonna hit him, and I didn't want to, like hurt him or nothing like that. So, that's why I apologize. I still have sympathy for people, regardless of how the outcome may have been. I see people all the time that I see, and sometimes I have sympathy for them, and I don't even get into it with them, even right here where I am. But I still have sympathy for them because I don't know. I just have this part of me that just care about people, all in all.
Okay, thank you. Panel ready to vote?
Yes, I'm ready to vote. Mr. Harrison, Mr.
Yes,
Harrison,
ma'am.
Mr.
Yes,
Harrison,
ma'am.
Mr. Harrison.
Yes, ma'am.
You really need to come to yourself. You need to come to yourself. You
Yes, ma'am.
you were out on supervision. The officer reprimanded you twice. And then here's the third incident. I think you were in jail for what, like 6 months, 6 or 8 months of this time, wasn't you? You're back in jail when that charge got dismissed. So I find you guilty because you admitted to the allegations. I find you guilty, and my vote is to revoke your supervision with the recommendation that DOC provides you with long-term substance abuse treatment prior to your release based on the documentation in your probation officer's file. But that is my vote. I'm only one vote. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Freeman?
I concur. You've had 2 prior reprimands. I think you do have a drug problem. They had an arrest with some possessions and things, but that kind of went away. But I agree, and I vote to revoke with recommendation DOC send you to substance abuse.
Mr. Lee, you have 2 votes to revoke. My vote likewise is to revoke. Your parole has been revoked today, but with a recommendation to DOC that you be allowed to participate in a long-term substance abuse treatment. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay, so what that mean?
Means you've been revoked. You'll go back to serve your time, and hopefully you'll get some long-term substance abuse treatment.
So how long will I have to serve?
Well, whatever time you got left.
We don't
We don't
calculate time.
calculate
We don't
time.
calculate time.
All right.